Just to start, so this is the collaboration. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jade Garrett. I just started as the program manager for Nation of Makers in helping execute the Department of Energy's American-Made Solar Prize. So it's a collaboration with the Nation of Makers where I'm trying to be the one who's going to help you guys get all the funding and everything accessible. So to explain what it is, the mission of the Solar Prize is to re-energize American ingenuity in solar innovation and manufacturing. It's to empower innovators with knowledge and resources and access to rapidly transform ideas into prototypes, set entrepreneurs on a network pathway of disruptive innovation so ideas can become real products in months, not years. So how Nation of Makers plays a role is that we're really helping with the network, the powered pathway, so that we can connect people who are competing in the prize to your makerspaces. So it's a really complex program, so I'm trying to break it down into different areas. So I'm going to start with kind of the slides that they sent us. The American-Made Solar Prize, it's $3 million in total. And instead of going through a grant, they wanted to do the reverse process of awarding funding to ideas and then have a network help support them and help them develop the prototypes. So there's three main parts of the competition for people who want to compete in the challenge. The first one is ideate. It's an ongoing ideation process where it's actually a separate contest than it is from the Solar Prize, and I'll go into that later because it gets a little bit more complex. But there's competing and connecting. So when you compete, that is if you are looking to win part of the $3 million of the Solar Prize. There's connecting, which is if you are a makerspace, this is where you want to make your resources known and available, and you join the American Made Network, where you can either help entrepreneurs with getting their funding, or you can help them with space, for example, or access to tools, technology, training, that kind of thing, or you can be eligible for voucher funding, which would make it so that a certain amount of money, I think it's $175,000 in total, will be able to be used only at voucher awarded places on the American Made Network. So that kind of wraps up the big picture. The next slide, the timeline. So the timeline is a really quick turnaround. So the ready part, there are three parts of the competition if you are a competitor. So there's the ready, set, go. We're in the ready phase right now, and I don't know if you can see my cursor right here, but part of the ready, we are right here, right before the deadline for the ready part of the competition closes. So the ready, you could win up to, there's 20 to 40 prizes, and you can win from $25,000 to $50,000 if you are a competitor and you apply for the program. The next phase is the set program, where 5 to 10 people will win this, but you have to be part of the ready program. You have to be one of the winners of the ready competition round to get into the set round. And then from the set round, I don't think that you have to be a winner from the set round to be a finalist for the go, but you just have to have gotten the ready part of it. So you could totally miss out on the set award, but then you could actually win the go, totally skipping over the set award. But with the go, if you win that, there's 2 prizes, and you can win up to $500,000 in cash and up to $75,000 in vouchers. So so the big picture is kind of how does all this fit together. There's the ideation, where you don't have to really necessarily have your own idea. You can actually execute someone else's ideation idea, which I'm going to show the process later. But you can also you know, be part of the contest. You can compete in it, and then work with the network right here to turn it into a working prototype. And NREL and Department of Energy and Nation of Makers and the other power connectors, we're the ones who are going to help you facilitate this. So we need to hear about the capabilities that your makerspace has, any type of training programs, if you have mentors that you can connect the entrepreneurs to, for example, that kind of thing. That's really helpful. So this section is going to be for if you want to participate. So if it's helpful if you're going to be holding an engage event to listen to this so you can explain it to your group. So, and I'm going to share these slides later as well. So the prize challenge participants, it's targeted towards them, and we want to try to increase the participation. So the more people that compete, the more people that you have connected in your network, the easier it is for you to get funding later on. So, and here kind of explains again the 3 phases, the ready, set, go. The ready is you make a plan to innovate. There's 20 to 40 winners. The set part of the program is you create a proof of concept. There are 5 to 10 winners, and you can win from $37,500 to $75,000 in vouchers. And then also build a prototype and find a pilot partner, and that is where a lot of the voucher money will be spent as well. So here's where it gets a little complex, all right? So there is the American Made Challenge website. It's americanmadechallenge.org. There's also a website called HeroX, and that's the one where you're expected to apply to compete. So, and what's challenging about the HeroX website is that if you can see, when you first go on to American Made Challenges, you're going to see that there's 2 different places where you can go. So there's the ideation section of the challenge, where you can go on there and submit an idea. If your idea wins the overall grand prize, then you get $1,000. But it's also a good place to submit, to get your teams to go look at for ideas if they don't have one necessarily. They can actually go onto the ideation phase of this website, the HeroX website, and pick an idea, and then go over onto the next part, which is the American Solar Made Prize. And this is where you compete to be in the American Solar Made Prize challenge. So right here, that's the website for the overall challenges on HeroX. And then there's the ideation part of it right here, where that's, you only win $1,000, but you can get ideas, and that's where you can direct people to get ideas to. And then there's the Solar Prize Challenge, where you have to go to submit your idea as a team. So more about the ideation part. You'll see here that this is the format that they have submitted the ideations in. You can see that, for example, there's a solar panel, there's a cost-effective grid stabilization, goal solar, augmented reality, that kind of thing. So if you have a team that wants to compete, you don't have to, they don't have to have their own idea, they just have to be willing to develop it. So I'm gonna minimize that. And the last day to submit it is October 2nd. So if you don't submit it by October 2nd, then you won't be eligible for the $1,000 that you could get if someone chose your idea and they won the overall challenge, the Go challenge with that. So, but here are the important dates. Right now, everyone should be signing up to be part of the competition, excuse me, and ideating, sharing ideas, but also connecting people to introducing people to what the challenge is and how they can offer their services to the entrepreneurs. So, and then also October 2nd, that's the last day for the ideation. And October 5th is the last day to submit for the whole challenge itself. So for the Ready Challenge. If you do not submit the Ready Challenge, then you will not be able to enter into all the rest of it. So for example, with the Ready Challenge right here, if you don't submit to this, you can't submit to the Set Challenge, and you cannot submit to the Go Challenge. So So you have to get it in now. But luckily, it's not that difficult to apply to the solar challenge competition. So as a competitor, what do you need to do? All you need to do is submit a 90-second video, a cover letter, answer 4 questions under 2,500 words, submit 1 slide, and write 2 pages for a technical assistance request. And then there's some additional rules and info, which I'm going to go into right now. So for and these rules and suggested contents, this is all in the rules PDF that you'll find on the website, and I'm going to share the link at the end of this. But so for example, you need to create a 90-second video. It's going to be online, it's going to be public, and it cannot be longer than 90 seconds. The suggested content that you provide for it is it's a real world problem, why you're solving it, and your solution and why it's transformational, who you are and why you have a competitive edge. And if you're a makerspace, you can help your teams by helping them film their video, just making sure it's under 90 seconds. Make sure that when you use the camera, you don't hold your camera up like this. You actually record it this way. You record it horizontally so that it looks better on YouTube instead of just like one slide, like a slit, and then the rest is grayed out. And then the judge, and it gives a description of how the judges are going to score it. So, you know, they're going to score it 1 through 6. Does it really explain a compelling real world problem? So it's good to have someone else besides your team make sure that it has all this criteria. So that's how you as a makerspace can help your teams. So then the next part is a cover letter. You need to have your project name on it, your innovation tagline, just basically what you're doing in a few words, kind of like solar panels, revolutionizing the sun for creating energy, you know, just something really short. You have to include your link to a 90-second video online, your URL address from HeroX showing your proposed ideation. That is if you used one of the ideation ideas. If you didn't, don't worry about it. And the key project members that are in it. Make sure you use keywords, kind of like a resume. You want to make sure that the keywords that proves your value is readily available and up at the top where everyone can see it. So, and you can look more into the rules to get more in depth of what actually these all encompass. So there are 4 questions that you're going to need to answer. I have a link to the questions here on the PDF in the rules section. The first question is the problem. What is the problem and why is solving it important? The second question is innovation. What is your solution and why will it be successful? The third question is your team. What have you done to date and what qualities give you a competitive edge? Like if you have someone who's worked with solar energy their whole life, like not really their whole life, but you know, for the last 10 years and they've like published papers, you want to highlight that as a strength on your team when you're answering that question. Also, if you have an entrepreneur or if you have someone who's gone and manufactured something before, you want to include that because that gives you the competitive edge as your team over someone else who, let's say, has just only studied it. So the fourth question is, what is your plan? What is your plan to achieve your goals? So you would want to go in a timeline, kind of like say, okay, first plan is to win the ready, second is to win the set, you know, that kind of thing, where you're just timelining out how you plan to achieve your goals. And you want to mention if you're using any partners in the network as well. So there's special instructions, which is listed on the rules as well, but it's using a SMART analogy of how you plan on meeting your goals. So I'm not going to read this because we all have other things to do, but it's all in the rules, and I just wanted to let you know that there are special instructions on answering question 4. It kind of gives you a format. So the last parts are the technical assistance and the slides. So the technical assistant request, this is where it's really important, where if you're holding an Engage event, you want your teams to be writing, you know, hey, we need to use a water jet cutter to cut all the steel beams that it needs to hold the chassis for all the solar panels that we're making. That's just an example. And so when you submit the technical assistance request, it's read so that they can help pair your team to your makerspace or to a national lab that has these requirements that they could use. So it could be, you know, if they need space for holding their prototype, if they need mentorship, if they need funding, all that, that's going to be in the technical assistance request. So, and then they also need to create a slide that will be made available to the public so that judges and you can, there could be a peer review judging on ideas between the teams that have entered in the competition. And then also letters of support. If you're a makerspace, I have templates available that I'm going to share where basically you could write in all the things that make your makerspace unique to where these, where you could match that so that these entrepreneurs could submit a letter of commitment from you saying that you're here to help them utilize your resources and get funding. So the resources are in the rules. This is the link. I just wanted to put that out there so that if you're referring your entrepreneurs to this website, you want to have them look at the resources, because instead of remaking the wheel, you have access to templates that people could just enter in, you know, like their team name, that kind of thing. So now we're getting to the 3 ways that a makerspace can get funding. And this is through Nation of Makers and NREL and Department of Energy. There's a couple stages. We just passed the Engage funding where it's no longer available, but if you're holding an event, I think 10 makerspaces all over the US rallied to be able to hold an Engage event. So they got some funding. But now there's 3 more steps where, let's say you missed the Engage funding, but you want to still be a part of the program. The first part is the mobilizing and mentoring part of the competition for makerspaces. Any connectors or makerspaces who significantly help a team during the Ready contest may receive $5,000 for helping your members win the Ready stage. So if you had 3 teams enter from your makerspace where you help them with, you know, either filming their video or training on how to use certain equipment, that kind of thing, if they list you on their cover letter, then you'll get $5,000 times 3 if they won the Ready stage. So this is on top of what, so this is kind of how you participating and helping your entrepreneurs could help you in return. And then it levels up where if you help them win the Ready, win the set or the go stage, then you get $10,000 for each level that they progress. So you could win, depending on how many entrepreneur teams that you help, you could win multiples of this. So it's a really good way to help your team and also get more people engaged in that aspect. So another part is the Department of Energy voucher funding. If you register your makerspace as a connector or a facility, I need to write that, facility. On the American Made Network, which I'm going to show you the whole process right after this, so that on the American Made Network to be visible to the winners so that they may use 1/3 of their voucher winnings at your makerspace for things like membership space dues, training, development, equipment, prototyping, services. And this is also a really neat way that you could help the startups at your makerspace as well. If you know people who charge for prototyping, for example, and they have a legitimate business with a website, that kind of thing, you'd want to have them also submit to become a connector or a facility so that they're eligible for voucher funding. So they could use their money to help build their prototype. And the lastly is the Boost Rewards program. This is the most amount of money that you could win with a certain instance, but it's also the hardest as well. So to get Boost Reward funding, you need to be one of the top 3 connectors or makerspaces that raise the most funds that can earn payments from a pool of $200,000 total. So there's going to be 3 payouts. The highest ranking makerspace that raised the most amount of money for their entrepreneur teams or the challenge in general wins $100,000. The second one wins $60,000. The third one wins $40,000 for their makerspaces, or by helping successfully boost financial support for the competitors individually or the solar prize generally. But the thing is, you must raise a minimum of $100,000 to be eligible. So if you raise $80,000, you're not eligible for the $100,000 to be awarded. So you have to meet that minimum threshold of $100,000. And now I'm going to take you through the steps that you're going to need to register as a connector or a voucher. So, and this is where you want to join the connection part of the American Made Network, where you want to be a connector. It's targeted towards increasing the participation of makerspaces and organizations with facilities and resources that can be shared with the Ready, Set, Go competitors. So how you register is you want to go to the website, https://americanmadechallenges.org, and this is separate from the HeroX website. So this is where it gets a little confusing. You do not want to go to the HeroX website to register as a connector. This is the American Made Solar Prize's own website. So I just want to make sure that's really clear, because sometimes you're going to be you might be looking on the HeroX to find out where you become a connector. You're not going to go onto the HeroX to become a connector. You want to go onto their website. And then so if you go to the link connect, you click this button, I'm ready to become a connector, and then it's going to take you to this screen right here. It's going to say request to become a connector partner, and you just want to click the start button. And then the first question is that they're going to ask you is, I prefer to join as an I prefer to join as a connector organization who may qualify for achievement payments, B, a facility willing to help teams build prototypes and utilize voucher payments, or C, other program partner to offer resources to entrepreneurs. If you want to do both, where let's say you want to be a connector but also offer your facility so that your facility can be eligible for vouchers, then I would click the C part of it so that you could be eligible for both, because it kind of is going in a gray area. So click C, and if there are any issues, email me if you have any questions at jade@nationofmakers.us, and I can connect you with someone who could help you kind of figure out what best part you kind of fit into. And then, so going to the next questions 2 through 5, you need to have an organization name, you need to have a website, you need to have an email contact, and then you also need to provide your physical location and address, because that's how we're going to connect entrepreneurs who might be in your area to direct them to go to your makerspace, for example. And then also they're going to connect you on this big map called the American Made Network, and you're going to have a little kind of, you're going to have your own entry where people can search you out that way for it. So, and then in questions 6 and 7, it just helps better categorize you guys as a makerspace, kind of where you want to focus most of your effort helping these entrepreneurs. So if you want to, and you can choose one or all, or a combination of them. So if you want to focus on mentoring teams to innovate ideas, solutions, and technologies, select that. Connecting teams to regional prototyping and manufacturing expertise and facilities. Let's say you guys have a lot of startups that help entrepreneurs get their prototypes ready, you could help connect them that way. Assisting teams and utilizing vouchers at fabrication facilities and national laboratories to help build out and validate products and solutions, leveraging partnerships to help build the ecosystem of experts and investors. Also creating excitement for the program, be willing to participate in events such as demo days. Like if you want to have your makerspace available to hold a demo day, because it's close to one of your entrepreneurs, you could register as that as well, and help market the program across the country. Also bringing in investors to the program to make connections to capital investments for the team's sponsorship funding and for the overall program, and prize money to assist with demo day events. This counts as part of the Boost Connector rewards. If you're helping specific entrepreneurs that are competing in the challenge, if you help them raise funding, this will count towards your Boost rewards. So that is one way where you could get the tally up. So if you have a team that has a really good idea and they get funding, connect with Nation of Makers, Dorothy and I, and we will help you negotiate how to capture all the Boost rewards if they get funding through other investors, for example. So the 7th question is just kind of describe your organization. How would you help support? Just if you have anything that sets you apart, like your special sauce, like let's say you guys have specialized testing equipment that not a lot of other people have, or if you guys have a water jet that people can be trained on, or if you guys have access to a lot of mentors, or if solar energy has kind of been your focus, or renewable energy where you can connect people with mentorship resources, that kind of thing. Anything that sets you apart, write that in there. That's what I need to match you with competitors. I'm going to be reading their technical assistance requests, and I'm going to be connecting them with you guys. So that's how they can use their voucher money on you. And I think it's a total of, they can use 1/3 of all the voucher money on you, and that is a pool of $175,000 where it's dedicated only for voucher programs to be used. So that's really amazing access to a small barrel of like fishing in a barrel, I think it's called, to be able to access those funds. The last questions are, would you like to be added to the waiting list for a power connector? That's for if they hold the competition next year. Let's say you guys really rock it, where you have like 10 teams, compete and win funding. I would consider, I would click the yes if you're really strong in the energy sector. Then also the other one is just accepting the right to select the connector partners and facilities. Like if they don't feel like you are part, if you're like a really valid, let's say you're based not in America, they would probably reject you. So they're just saying they reserve that right. The last question is, do you accept? And then it's like all the stuff. I'll let you guys read it, not me use up everybody's time to read it. So this is a very important part so that we can distinguish you guys as makerspaces that are part of the American Made Network that Nation of Makers helped connect you guys to this program. Send an email to me at jade@nationofmakers.us telling me that you registered. This lets me know a few things. It will let me know that I can connect people to you guys. I will look at your applications. I'll get a copy of it so that I can better connect you guys with voucher funding, help you guys utilize the Boost Rewards program if you guys do want to enter into it, into competing and raising funds that way. So a lot of it is going to be reading the rules. And the rules, they're about 49 pages that I've read probably 3 or 4 times now. And recently, I think it was September 17th, they changed a few parts of the rules, where in Appendix 1 in the rules, where it just has a few modifications. Like now, if you're going to be judged if you submitted an application to the go phase, oh no, the ready phase, excuse me, then you're going to have to do a peer review, and you're going to have to review 10 other submissions. I think it's 10, or it might be 5, depending on how many competitors competed. So I think it's 10, actually. So, so read the rules and modifications. It's going to say it directly on the website. It's going to have like a little pop-up where you have to exit out of it. Just read the modifications to the rules, and it's in Appendix 1 on the PDF. So it's just saying a couple of the rules in the appendix I want to highlight is that competitors may identify their connectors for up to 2 weeks after the close of the ready contest. This is important because let's say they forgot to mention you guys on their cover letter, or I connected you guys with an entrepreneur team where they want to use your space for funding. They're able to email the NREL and the Department of Energy and say that you're helping them so that you can be available. You will be able to access the funding. So the $5,000 and the $10,000 for each level of the phase that they win, that allows you to be eligible for that. So, and it's up to 2 weeks. So I'm going to be busy right after October 5th, where I'm going to be connecting you guys with possible entrepreneurs so you can get funding. Page 19, it's on the PDF rules. They talk about how they score, how they now score your entry as an entrepreneur, to now include the peer review, the peer ranking. So that's kind of like, it just messes up the whole kind of equation of if you submitted your entry before September 17th. But peer ranking is pretty easy. I think it's like 1 through 5. And I'm going to share a list of YouTube videos that the Department of Energy created as well in the slides. And then the last one that I wanted to highlight was, again, it doesn't have to be only you as a makerspace. They can list up to 3. 3 says 35. There should be a hyphen in there. It says, so let's say 3 makerspaces helped this entrepreneurship team get funding. So that means that they would divide up, let's say, the $5,000 between 3 makerspaces. So you guys would win like a fraction, like 1/3 of the $5,000. So that's to help foster makerspaces working together, but also national labs to partner with makerspaces and connect more resources. So, and the last part is getting into the boost rewards. I want to make sure that we go over this thoroughly. Again, this is the highest bounty that a makerspace could get as a connector. So you could get up to $100,000, and again, you have to at least make $100,000 to return back to the program, whether it's through investor funding for the entrepreneurship team or the prize in general. So if someone wanted to donate money to help the solar energy prize continue on, that counts as part of your boost rewards, but you must raise a minimum of $100,000 to be eligible for that. And to ensure that you get credit, you should definitely include me and Dorothy on email so that we can help you guys if you guys need to be able to connect you guys through the Department of Energy so that you guys get credit for the boost rewards. So we'll help you log it, that kind of thing, and also ensure that you guys get the proper credit. So make sure that you include us on all investor and raising funds for either your entrepreneurship teams or the program in general. So, and again, I want to emphasize this a lot. Read the Solar Prize rules. It's a PDF of about 49 pages, including all the changes on Appendix 1. It will give you a really clear step-by-step way to help answer any questions you have about the program. Everything that I had questions about was pretty much covered when I read the official rules on this. So, and to round it out, and to finish it out, if anyone has any questions, please unmute and ask me the questions. And also, if I don't have the answer, email me at jade@nationofmakers.us. What I'll do is I will post them on the Hero X forum so that someone from the Department of Energy or NREL will be able to help you connect to an answer. So I want to leave it open for anyone who has any questions, and feel free to ask away.